That's just as good.
My name's Ruth, alcoholic.
Hi, Ruth.
I'm someone that's an alcoholic. Sorry. So I'm one of those people. I was brought into addiction, and this disease is genetic. My parents broke up right before I was born. My mom wasn't her addiction. Spent most of my childhood between foster care and abuse. I got taken away from my mom at a very young age. And then when I was a teenager, I moved to Hawaii because that's where my stepmom was from. We moved to Hawaii. Everything was good. I spent most of my life trying to fit in, and I never quite fit. So I came in, and when I was a senior in high school, I get a call, hey, if you start doing good, because I was in foster care at the time, you can come to Seattle to live with your mother. So I was doing good, doing everything I was supposed to. 2 days before I got here, she OD'd. Mm-hmm. So I came to Seattle, and within a week I was drunk. And I spent my senior year in high school going to school, going to work, drinking until I passed out. And then it's graduation night. I woke up in some bushes at Hind Lake College. Don't know how that happened. And I got back to the foster home, and they already had me packed up and dropped me off at a transition house. My drinking was too much for them, so they was like, "Well, you gotta step away for a while." He's like, "You gotta be out of the house for a week." At that point, I was staying with people here and there, and then I was forced to live a lifestyle I would never imagine for myself. And the only way to get through that was to drink. I was victimized in ways you could never imagine. And I was basically trapped for about 6 months and forced into stuff. I got out of that situation, living on the streets of Seattle, and I didn't want to live on the streets no more. So I decided to go to DATSA, to go get treatment, even though I didn't feel like I had a problem. I just didn't want to be on the streets. So I went to treatment for the first time, not thinking I was an alcoholic. I just wanted a place to live. I did find out it's not normal for a 17-year-old to be drinking the way I drank. I was 18 at the time. So I tried the sobriety thing. I found my spirituality there, which I'm forever grateful, but the steps didn't click at that time. And then, something happened in sobriety. Then I was like, you know what? I'm too young to be an alcoholic. Like I can't even legally buy alcohol. How can I be an alcoholic? So I was like, if this store sells me alcohol, I'm going to get drunk. And I did. And within 6 months, I was looking at life in prison. So I started drinking, let people live with me that shouldn't be living with me, getting involved in situations I shouldn't be getting involved in, and I ended up locked up. Surprisingly, I got PR'd and ended up pregnant through a rape. So I had to drop off my son to DSHS a month, about the day before I went in to do a 5.5-year sentence. I drank inside. I did 5.5 years. I did drink inside. I tried to dabble with AA inside. I did feel safe inside in AA because, don't know who's listening. And that's just my experience, what I went through. So I got out, I got my son back. I did everything they tell you to do, but I was taking care of everybody else except myself. And I was drinking and dabbling within a good month of me getting out of incarceration. I did a low amount enough. I never got caught by DOC. And then I I spent I've been out for 19 years, and I've spent most of that time taking care of other people and not taking care of me. My drinking got really bad. I had kids. I couldn't take care of my kids without a drink. I couldn't survive without drinking. I thought I was always not that bad because my kids didn't know I drank because I drank when they was in bed. They didn't see me. Until I came to a point about 10 years ago. Well, no, it's been about 13 years ago where I had a breakdown. I could not function. I was afraid of hurting my kids. So I brought them to DSHS. And my drinking got really heavy then. I moved across state, didn't want to be judged by anybody. Moved across state, and I ended up getting sober over there actually. And that was about 10 years ago. And I got a sponsor. I got one of those really good sponsors, the ones that's sober for 35 years, and like you don't drink no matter what, and being so like with the steps for me, it's just like stuff, yeah, I have a problem with alcoholism. And the higher power thing for me was hard because I didn't believe in everybody else's. I have spirituality, which I live by today. The past 10 years have been rough. Right now, I've been separated from my spouse for almost a year now, and I feel finally okay. I'm finally living for me today. I'm working the steps. I'm being of service. I'm helping the next person. That community of the rooms and service is where I finally belong somewhere. And I didn't belong until I said I belonged. So I pushed people away most of my recovery. Then finally, past couple of years, I started letting people in. And I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm finally okay with who I am today. And that's because I got this program. I got the service positions. I'm allowed to be a part of. Um, yeah, so I'm a little nervous. I'm not used to talking as much, but yeah, no, my biggest thing was being around other women, unless I'm dating you, I don't want nothing to do with you. That's how I was, but now I've been able to like develop friendships and, see people, and be open to other people, and letting people in and using these steps in every part of my life. Um, I just stepped into all museum position this week. And I was asked to be in that position so my service stuff is I became a GSR with Serenity Hall about 4 years ago. And then I moved areas and I became this GSR of the Native American group. They hadn't had one for many years, and I got that going for them. And now I was able to pass that on and step into this position. I've got a chance to know a lot of people in the area, a lot of the groups, and yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. And that's all.